Monday, welcome back. It is time to get started on the Clio Peppiatt inspired, Oceanus inspired, crystal beaded dress. I'm super excited for this project. I think it's probably one of the projects that I've taken more seriously, both because I just want the dress to be perfect, but also I did spend a little bit extra on material, and I'm just so into beads right now and cannot wait to see what this dress actually turns into. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing I want to show you is just the materials, so you can see them right here. We are working with 3 different types of fabric. We're working with our outer fabric, so the sequined patterned one. We're also working with a luxury satin blue that's going to go underneath that, but also going to be an outer fabric of a sorts. So I'm gonna layer that out together with the sequins. And then I'm also working with a inner fabric, so a lining fabric that's just a soft jersey. For the sequin fabric, I've shown you guys that before. That's 2 videos ago, so if you want to see that a bit more in detail, please go and check that video out. I have linked the fabric there, and I'll link it here as well. And then I'm also using a invisible zipper for the side. For machine, we're using my trusty 2 machines, so my overlocker and my normal machine. And yeah, I think that's really it. The only thing worth mentioning is I haven't decided on the pearl trim yet. You can see the pearl trim right here. I think I might, if you look at the pictures of a Clio Peppiatt dress, you can see that they have this type of trim on the neckline, also on the back. And I'm thinking to maybe put it on the neckline and also on that little slit that we're gonna make on the upper right thigh. Yeah, that's all for materials. Let's move on to pattern. So for the pattern, I have drafted my own pattern, but I've used the Lutterloh system. You can see all of the pattern pieces right here. The center front is cut on a fold, and the center back is also cut on a fold. I wanted to do it this way with a zipper on the side to get the most out of the print of the sequin fabric, both on the front and the back. It was quite cool to make the pattern. It was the first time I used my Lutterloh system, actually. I've had it for a long time, but decided to try it out, and it worked really well. If you want more information on the Lutterloh, or if you want me to draft a pattern using the Lutterloh showing how it's done, I'm happy to do so, but then please leave a comment down below. Anyway, that was the pattern. I also got 2 other patterns out of it because it worked so well. But the most important thing for me with the pattern was to start with test sewing. So let's take a look at Dolly and the 2 test patterns she has on right now. All right, I know you can't see my head, but that doesn't matter. The most important part here is Dolly. So the first dress that she has outside of the other one is the very first draft that I made. It's not tied or anything in the back, so I'm just gonna hold it here. This first pattern worked out really well. I was super happy with it, actually. I think I might even use this. I didn't overlock anything, I just sewn the pieces together, so I might clean that up and use this dress and actually finish it. But the only thing I noticed was that I thought the shoulder straps were a bit too wide, and then I also wanted that more scooped out, scooped, squared, ish both neckline. So when I went back in, I decided to alter those parts in the pattern, and it was super easy because I had already done this one, so I could just measure where do I want, where do the dress fit on me, and how far do I want to drop the neckline. Everything else worked really well. I did also do a wider skirt than the pattern in the Lutterloh system. I decided to base that off of a black dress that I have. So yeah, have fun with it, play around with it, but that's how I did it. Now, as I did my second test sew, this is what came out of it. Here I obviously used satin fabric, and here I used a it's like borderline jacquard. It's a very like structured fabric, but it's a bit softer. It's not as stiff. But I got this one out of it, so you can see the dropped neckline we have here, and also the shoulder straps are a bit more narrow. For the final pattern, they're actually even more narrow. So this is the pattern that we're going to work off of, and here you can actually also see that I have the opening on the side rather than the back, so that the back is a full one-piece panel. I was really happy with this this version as well. Did decide to overlock all the pieces before I sewed them together so that I could actually also finish this dress. So I'm getting a few extra dresses out of this project, which is also just fab. But yeah, this is where we're at. I have gotten all the materials, I've test sewn on 2 different fabrics, altered the pattern a bit, so now it's time to cut out all of the pieces. We're gonna cut out every single piece of the pattern in all 3 fabrics, and then I'm just gonna take it from there with you guys. Day 2 of working the dress. I have cut out all of my pieces, so it's a total of 18 pieces. I've also just quickly marked with a few clips to remind myself of constantly that I'm also doing that little slit on the thigh, so it's gonna go right here. I also want my zipper to go between these 2 pieces, so I'm just gonna keep that in mind. But for now, I've just marked the slit, and then I might also mark here. But yeah, I'm super happy with how all the panels turned out. I think it's super nice to go with this more plain back panel and side panels on the back, and then the pattern is like all center stage at the front. The first 2 steps we're gonna do from here is to overlock all of the pieces, and then we're just gonna assemble the inner dress lining. So I'm gonna sew all of the seams like this on the lining on the inside. I have cut a little bit of a test patch from all of my 3 fabrics. Especially this one, I want to make sure to test on both of my machines. Over here, I'll naturally choose a much slower tempo, and I also just want to see how my overlocker reacts. So first tip before we actually get sewing. And then final thing I forgot to say is on the lining fabric, so the fabric that is a bit looser, I'm actually going to add some interfacing right across the bust and back area. So the upper part of the pieces, I'm gonna add some interfacing. But let's get test sewing and then overlock, like I said. This is day 3, guys, or evening 3, I guess. Lining have been interfaced and sewn together. Just hung it here for now. Remember that the right side's out is actually going to go into my body. So keep that in mind if you're doing your lining, that you put the opening on the right side. So when I turn this inside out, the opening is going to be here, right? And that's also where I want the zipper opening to go on my outer fabric. Same goes for the slit. Remember to put in the slit right here. So that will go on the opposite side when I turn it inside out. Now we're looking at the outer fabrics, and I can just feel myself, you know, pause for a moment before you're gonna do something important, I guess. What I'm gonna do next is actually also just sew all of these pieces together, but I need to be mindful of that I'm sandwiching the sequin fabric in between the satin fabric, and I'm doing this because I don't want any hems or edges to show through the sequins fabric on the outside. So we're basically just going to treat all of these pieces as if they were one, so two of them together as one, and yeah, sew it all together. So I've laid it out like this so that I know that I'm leaving the right part of my dress open, where the zipper is going to connect the two. And then I've also here marked my slit just so I don't forget about it in the midst of all of the assembly. It is a few days later, guys. I have gathered both my lining fabric and my outer fabric, I've sewn them all together. So I now have my inner and outer fabric. Also just attached the zipper for the lining here. So I'm gonna sew that in first. And then I have my outer fabric over here. I'm gonna leave this open in the side seam here so that I can make that sandwiched zipper work. So let me just attach the zipper to the inner lining, and then I'll show you how I'm pinning the outer fabric to the zipper. And once the zipper is done, we're gonna start talking about the neckline and finishing off the edges at the top. Okay. It's time to finish this dress. I think I yesterday gave you like a weird something trying to explain what I did last night, and I actually fucked up, so I'm gonna share that. I should have never gathered the front and back pieces. I should have kept them separate for the zipper, but I didn't realize. Anyways, I'm gonna undo. So what I want to do is put a zipper in on the side, and what I have done is sewn both the lining fabric and also the outer pieces. I've sewn them together here, like separately. I've sewn them here. So I'm gonna undo this stitch again so that I can actually make that sandwiched zipper fit nicely. And then once that's done, I'm just gonna install the zipper, and then I'll come back to you guys. The zipper is installed. I feel like I mastered zippers quite a while ago, but this time the zipper gods just humbled me a little bit. Anyway, the zipper is in. I've turned my dress inside out, so as you can see, we have the zipper here in the middle. And now I'm gonna do the lining, or the necklines. So this is the back pieces. I'm gonna sew this part right here. And these are the front pieces. I'm gonna sew this part right here. And then I'm also gonna sew the armhole on the side that has the zipper. And I'm gonna leave the armhole on the side that don't have the zipper because we also wanna join our sides together in the right way later. So that's what's happening. All right, guys, it's starting to look like a dress, I think. I hope. I think. I have done the neckline and the backside neckline, or whatever you call it, backline. I don't know. We have our zipper installed here between these two pieces. So the two things I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna connect the side seams here with each other. And I'm basically just gonna, yeah, turn the dress like inside out, but in an awkward way to get that going. I can show you that in a minute. Second thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hem the lining fabric. So side seam and hem the bottom of the lining. And then we are actually getting pretty close. I'm gonna give her a good press as well. For the shoulder straps, that's what we'll come back to, and then we'll also come back to the pearl trim. Okay guys, status is the dress is done. I'm actually not happy with it. Like, I'm happy with it and I'm happy with it at the same time. If you stay tuned, I promise to give a bit more footage of what she looks like on. But the main reason I'm not happy is actually the shoulder straps. Everything else turned out pretty darn good, if I say so myself. Like, the slit is perfect. It's like just to that point where it's a little too high, but I still feel very covered. And then the pattern turned out really good. I learned a bunch of stuff. So for sequin fabric, when you're sewing it, if you're able to face the sequin downwards, so away from your needle, do that. And also, yeah, I don't know. I feel like this was just a fun project. It took time, but it's like, yeah. And then also what I learned was obviously, like, or relearned was my zipper reminder. Never sew the front and the back pieces together if you're gonna do a sandwich zipper like I did. So yeah, sew slow, sew with the fabric away from you, or sew with the sequin away from you. I loved it though. It was quite challenging. You'll also notice that I did not attach the pearls or the pearl trim, and that's for the very reason that I'm not super happy with the dress. But if you imagine, then I have the pearl trim here, so I would have attached it to the neckline here, probably up to the shoulder strap or all the way around, also going around my back, but yeah, I think that's gonna look stunning. The thing is, I'm actually gonna make this dress. I have enough fabric to make it again, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna adjust the pattern a bit on the shoulder strap so that it fits much better, because all in all, I'm like, I can really see what this design would be, you know? Do you know what I mean? All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that I'll see you again next Monday. And here is some more footage of what she looks like on.